that's helpful. That's helpful. That's helpful. I thought that was interesting on a week we're going to talk about helpful, because there's being helpful versus ideals or ideas and complaining. A lot of times we have ideas, we want to interject those ideas, but when it comes to being helpful with those ideas, we are in this position. I've been using the chairs to illustrate a lot, and here's what happens with our ideas in the form of helpfulness. Our ideas get to this chair, and that's it. Someone else do it. You know, in the 10 years we've been here, we've really wanted, and we still do, wanted and have a dream for live music. There's just a lot more you can do with it. You know, it doesn't have to be rocking hard, loud music or anything like that, but if we can just incorporate some live music so that we aren't subject to the way the tracks go and when the spirit's moving, you know, whether the lights are up or down, we can go with the flow. And I know for a fact that that has come up in our 10 years. And I know for a fact that we've had musicians and musical people in our midst before who have brought it to our attention that we don't have it. And when asked if they would be willing to be a part of that, they're not here. When I was, one year when we were doing Upward, I'll never forget this, because when I talk to referees in basketball and they're frustrated, I used to follow a coach in school basketball that usually would get under the skin of the referees. Not a nice coach. And so I would always go to the referees before our game and I'd say, now remember, this is a different game. Whatever that coach did doesn't pertain to me. I know better. And they would say, oh, they'd chuckle and say, okay, yeah, I know. And I'd say, okay, just remember, when I yell and holler, I'm usually praising my kids, not giving you grief. Well, in Upward one year, we had, you know, all our people are volunteers, right? Larry is usually our chief referee. He's the tallest, got his own stripes. And then we got Jack, who's usually out there, and I'm out there when I can be. And this one parent who's there every week. His son was playing that year. And after Upward, I got wind that he was just really complaining about the referee. And he just, you know, it's got a real competitive nature, but he just really didn't like our referee. And it really touched me because, you know, all of our people were involved in it. So here's how I handled it. We can be helpful and become a part of the solution, or we can decide to sit in that chair and just keep complaining. So what I thought was, you know what, this guy's here every week. I'm going to see if he'll be a part of the solution. I went and I got one of our referee handbooks and the DVD that we got that shows them how the Upward refereeing is. And I said, hey, you're here every week. Why don't you take this handbook and this DVD, see what we do in refereeing Upward basketball, see what the differences are in Upward basketball, and you come rep with us. Because obviously you've seen some things that we're lacking in, and you can help us. That would be awesome. Oh no, I can't do that. I said, no, really, you're here every week, your son plays every week, come on, you can help us. You don't have to rep when he's playing, but we have 3 game slots, so you could rep the other 2. That would be great. That would be really helpful. Oh no, I can't do that. I said, well, everybody else volunteers, you can do this. And I just keep prodding him, come on. You can do this. And at the end, he refused to do it, but he never said another word about our referee. makes me think, what are we going to do when there's a need? Are we going to be helpful and take the positive approach and try to make something good out of a situation that we know could be better if we really got involved? Or do we take the negative approach and sit and grumble about it because it's not good? You know, God wants us to be positive. He really wants us to do the right things and all that. Galatians, it talks to us. Well, let's look at this about help. Giving help. This is the definition. I'm all about that. Willing to help others. That's the key part. You got to be willing. I'm willing to point out all the things that you're missing. I'm willing to point out where you need to improve. But am I willing to help you get to that next level? That's what's going to make us better as an organization. That's what's going to make us better as a church. That's what's going to make us better as believers. That's going to make us better as the church of God in general. Are we willing to help others get better and closer to God? The Bible's full of how are we going to do that? Getting together, meeting together, discipling each other, sharing with each other, being positive, letting nothing come out of our mouths that won't build each other up. Remember, we talked about that in Ephesians 29. Being the best example of Jesus we can be. Being positive. Oh man, it's good stuff. Galatians 6, 9, and 10 says, so let's not get tired of doing what is good. At just the right time, we will reap a harvest of blessing if we don't give up. Sound familiar, Wednesday night people? Therefore, whenever we have the opportunity, we should do good to everyone, especially those in the family of faith. So what's that mean? Especially those in the family of faith. He's not ruling out that we don't be good to the people who don't come to church. But man, when you come to church, we need to encourage each other, build each other up, hug each other, have that little session we have every day, and just say, man, I'm glad to see you. Because who knows what kind of week you have. But you're here, and I'm glad to see you. That's awesome. You know, Philippians 2:14, I don't have glasses on, I think it says 14. Do everything without complaining or arguing. Because you know what? I have this idea that if I do things and I complain about it, I think God's going to put more of it on my plate. He has this way of developing me into saying, well, you know what, until you get over yourself, you're going to be doing that lots. Woo! I know that. Let me tell you a little secret about this convention I just went to. I dreaded that thing. It used to be over on Friday. It didn't start until Friday. There was a training on Thursday, and it started on Friday, and it went in Saturday. Saturday, I like to do church stuff here. I dreaded it. But man, when I got there, it's like God said, see, it's not so bad, is it? And then he started talking to me. And in those drives to and from, he kept talking to me. And you'll be back tomorrow, and we'll talk some more. And I go back tomorrow, and he keeps talking to me. And we drive back. You know, I drove back Friday in the middle of the day to get Karen to go back from Friday night so we could go to the, we call that ordination service. And he talked to me to go get her. He talked to me on the way back, and everybody fell asleep on the way home except me. I said, yeah, everybody's like, I won't go to sleep. I said, same. You're driving. I'm going to put it on autopilot. That didn't work. God just talks to me. And I'm telling you, it's funny because it's like, here he was dreading this thing, but God just took that thing and said, you know what? You got to go because that's your job, but I'm going to take the opportunity to mold you and show you how I want to keep molding you. And I'm going to talk to you. And I'm going to show you things that you didn't know existed. Guess what? I'm going to share one with you today. I was sitting in there taking notes because God hit me in my luncheon, no less. And it came to me. It wasn't about the lesson, but God was talking to me. And I said, because I took my Surface, my little computer, and one of my guys, we just ribbed each other the whole time. He says, what, do you write your sermon? I said, no, I wrote that on Sunday, or on Monday. He said, oh, okay. I said, but I've got some more good stuff. And I was writing down what God was talking to me, because I thought, I don't want to look at this. And I'm listening to the speaker at the same time, and I'm grasping him, and I'm looking, and I go back later to look at it because I'm thinking, I wonder if I did that right. And it was right. And I told Karen, I said, you know that God wrote that because I wasn't paying half attention. But I was just writing it out because, I took typing in high school, so I can type without looking, and it all worked. And I said, that's so amazing. I'm so glad I went because I didn't want to go. But that's what I'm telling you. There's those things that if I do with complaining and arguing, God's just going to keep bringing it until He molds you into what He wants you to be. He wants us to be positive. How do I represent? Remember at the very beginning of this? Like charges repel. And if I bring in this negative attitude and somebody that's new to this whole setting and is looking for Christ and they come in and all they get is negativity, want to come back. Lord, mold me. Mold me up. He did. And I promised I wasn't going to take an hour today. So help me to speak faster. Here's what happens. We got to look at this whole thing about being helpful with a confidence. Hebrews 13:6 says, we can say with confidence, the Lord is my helper. So I will have no fear, because what can mere people do to me? If the Lord lays something on your heart, and you get this idea, and you're not sure, and that's why you're still sitting in this chair, have the confidence that the Lord will help you, and you just present that thing, and you say, I don't know if I can do it, but I'll try.
Amen. Right.
And do it.
Yep.
There's a lady in the Bible that took that same stance. Matter of fact, she said, I don't know if I can do it. I'll at least try. And if I die, I die. Some of you Bible reading people might know what I'm talking about. But I was talking about the book of Esther and a lady named Esther. Esther's story is pretty interesting. Esther comes to be because King Xerxes goes and he calls for he wants to see his wife, Queen Vashti. She's really pretty, I guess. And he does what a lot of guys do. He gets all drunked up and he just wants to look at her. She's pretty. Well, I think for right cause, she said no. If you read that, she was a little aggravated with his invitation because I think she had half an idea that he's just all polluted and she doesn't want to deal with that. And so she says no. But here's the thing, in those days, you don't tell the king no. That's not your right, no matter who you are. And the king got a little upset about it. Said he was really mad. So he's trying to figure out what do I do with this woman that told me no. It's a good thing it's not today's culture. Today's culture would handle it way different. But it's kind of the same. He didn't beat on her or do anything like that. But instead he took away her queenship and sent her away. I feel like he was a little influenced by that whole thing, whether it was a hangover, or whether it was still a little bit intoxicated, or whether it was the outside influence of others. Because if you read the story, it says, after she was gone, he began to feel bad. Paraphrase the chorus. And he was trying to figure out what to do about it. So then they go and they give him ideas. Hey, we'll go find these new people, and you can have them come, and you can look over all the fair maidens of the land. Pick you a new queen. Esther is a Jew, but they hide that. And she becomes queen because she's really pretty. She's really respectful. She does all the right things, says all the right things. She's really respectful. She's respectful to the king. She's respectful to her people. Her uncle, kind of adopted father at the time, Mordecai, gets word that someone's going to assassinate the king, lets him know about it, and the king is saved. And the king is grateful, but nothing happens to Mordecai. And the story goes on, and pretty soon there's this guy that's really bad. He's really mad. He doesn't like Mordecai. He doesn't like the Jewish people. He doesn't like any of those. And he makes this trickery, and he does this, sets this decree up that all the Jewish people, through tricking the king, will be exterminated. It's like the first biblical Holocaust is about to take place. And he tricks the king into signing it and sealing it with a signet ring. They drop wax on there, he puts his ring mark in it, and everything is good. And it becomes law. It's an unbreakable law. And Mordecai gets wind of this. Remember Mordecai, the guy that saved the king from assassination, gets wind of this. And he goes to Esther, and he says, Esther, do you realize what is happening? Haman has just tricked the king into having all of us exterminated, and unless you do something, unless you go to the king, and unless you expose this whole trickery, we're all going to die. Your people are all going to die. And her first response was, oh no, but it's not my time. The king hasn't summoned me. He hasn't, this little scepter, giant scepter, to call for me. I can't go to the king. That's the thing we see. You know, we got an idea and somebody says, you do it, and we're sitting here. Oh no, I can't do that. I'll bring up the idea, but it's not my time. Ooh. See, here's something. Mordecai's trying to be helpful because he gets wind. He was helpful before because he saved King Xerxes from getting assassinated. He's trying to be helpful to his people by telling the queen, second in charge of everything, that this is what's going on. And when he goes up the ladder and he goes to the queen, her first response is like a lot of ours, oh no, I can't. But then he says, don't you think that this will escape you? In other words, don't you think that because you're the queen, your origins won't be found out and you will escape death? The Bible says it's a sin to know what you ought to do and still not do it. I'm thinking somewhere in there that kind of sunk into her. Because she grasped the concept. And man, you got to look at the scripture in Esther 4. It's about verse 16. It hit her like a ton of bricks. She replied to Mordecai and she said, go and gather together all the Jews of Susa and fast for me. Do not eat or drink for 3 days, night or day. My maids and I will do the same. And then though it is against the law Remember, she hadn't been summoned yet. I will go to see the king. And if I must die, I must die. She's got an idea. She's got the process. She knows what needs to be done to help the people. And now she's willing to do whatever it takes to make a difference, even at her own expense. The cool thing is, for those 3 days, prayer and fasting go together. They prayed, they fasted, and when she went with the Lord's help, she was a good follower of God. It was the most neatest thing, because the king openly accepted her. He never even once questioned anything about why did you come when you weren't asked. He just openly asked her, what is it you need? Anything. Even if it's half my kingdom. Wow. Wow. And that whole plan, long story short, was exposed. And the bad guy, the evil man, who was really Haman, who was going to do and exterminate all the Jews, was so evil, he wanted to exterminate solely and impale Mordecai on this gigantic spear, and he had all that planned. But yet, because she took action, even that was foiled, and the evil one, Haman, leader of all the armies, he was the one that was impaled. And Mordecai, the one that had saved him once and now was responsible for rescuing all the Jews, really, because he took action on an idea, action on something that was about to happen, action in being helpful to help the people come out of this situation. Now Mordecai, what did I ever do for Mordecai when he saved me from assassination? He asked when I was followed. Nothing. Now Mordecai, because this happened again, is dressed with the royal robe, given this thing reign. He goes through town on a chariot provided by the king and a horse of style. And now Mordecai is like second in command, and he is like the man of the city. Because he was helpful. And because he took that message to Esther, who decided to be helpful. See, here's the thing. The king knew of Mordecai. But he really didn't know Mordecai. It wasn't until he knew Mordecai that Mordecai received the blessings that he received from the king and got that royal robe, and the enemy was destroyed, and he got all those blessings of being a high leader and associated with the king. And today in the church, many people know of God and His Son Jesus, but they really don't know Jesus. And they squander around and they go in here and they look at people and they sit in this chair and they wonder how come this person has all this stuff and has all these blessings and is seeing and is getting his eyes all sweaty and they're tearing up over these songs and they're getting all these blessings. And it's because they know of this Jesus we worship. They mingle among all the people. They get into church and they're around the people just like Mordecai was. But they only know of Jesus. They don't know Jesus. And until they know Jesus personally, they won't know what it's like to wear that royal robe. They won't know what it's like to defeat the enemy. They won't know what it's like to have the blessings that comes from knowing the King of Kings.
Amen.
It takes more than just knowing of. It takes a personal relationship to know. And once we know, then we get the experience. See, they could have took the negative aspect of it and just said what it is what it is. And Esther could have said, I can't. It's not my time. But to take no action, the negative aspect of no action, costs lives. It's everything. If I come here and I spend all my time mingling in the church and being close to the people that know Jesus, but I never myself know Jesus, that costs lives. Not just mine, but all the lives that I could have touched because I should have known Jesus. All the lives that I could have touched because they looked at me for something and I didn't deliver because I never got a relationship with Christ. And the influence I had could help others know Jesus too. But in fact, if we take the positive approach and decide, you know what, I don't want to be the complainer. I want to have the confidence that says the Lord is my helper and I'll have no fear. Because what can mere people do to me? But God, I can do anything. But I have to take this chair and bring this chair together and let Him live inside me. Because with God, all things are possible. And if I do that, then we save lives. Because my life is now reaping the benefits and the blessings of having Jesus in me. And then the influence that I have on people, I can go and share those same blessings with people. And God can work through me and maybe help people come to know Jesus too.
Amen. Right.
Oh no, we can't save people. Only God can.
Right.
Through Jesus Christ His Son.
Right. Yeah.
But man, there's people looking at each one of us for some kind of answer. How do you do it? I don't. Jesus does.
Right.
But
Yep.
He does it through me. That's the most positive thing you can say.
Amen. Right.
Right.
There's nothing negative in that. I don't. That's just putting the glory where it goes. Glory to God in the highest. Isn't that what the angel said? Glory to God in the highest. Woo! Peace on earth.
Yes.
Man. I never saw that story of Mordecai like that. And I'm sitting there. And God said it's like this. Go deeper than the top. Because unless we take some kind of action, all those people are lost. I want you to be positive, like they were, to help people come to know you. So where are we? Do we know the King of Kings? Do we know for a fact that God is the King of our life?
Yep.
I'd like to be helpful today and give you an opportunity to say, Lord, I need you. I don't want the enemy to destroy me. I don't want the enemy to destroy anybody that's looking to me for guidance. I want you to control all there is to me. Lord, I want to be the positive element that helps other people know about you. Will you stand with me? I'm going to ask you right now, every head bowed, every eye closed, I'm going to ask you right now, I'm going to say, Lord, I'm going to ask you, Lord, just pray out, Lord, if you would just give me a chance. Use me.